Evil Dead Rise gets a sequel. Mikey Madison selects her first post-Oscar win acting role. Grand Theft Auto 6's trailer goes nuclear. We have Highlander news with Henry Cavill and Chad Stahelski. Spike Lee's Highest to Lowest has dropped its first trailer. Jordan Peele and M. Night are going head-to-head, and there's so much more to cover in this week's movie news.
What's up, movie friends? Welcome back to Raiders of the Lost podcast, the ultimate film and TV podcast. This is where we talk about all of the film and TV stories happening over the past week, so you don't have to. Sit back, relax, and learn about what's happening in the world of film. We're also getting a new X-Men film, and Gollum, The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, is confirmed. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but first, let's get into this weekend's very strong box office, brought to you by our friends at movieposters.com, the number one place for your posters online. Use the coupon code Raiders10 to get 10% off all orders, as well as the affiliate link in this description in the bio of our social media, movieposters.com. At number one in the box office in its second weekend is Marvel's Thunderbolts, which is performing really well with a $35 million second weekend.
Well, I would say it's quite a drop, though. It was $75 to $35 million. That's a pretty big drop, as we see with a lot of Marvel films. So they're always very front-loaded, whereas, Sinners had a historical 10% drop from first to second weekend, going from 45 to 40. Thunderbolts going from 75 to 35 is interesting, especially with the marketing campaign for Thunderbolts, how it's, spoiler alert, even though this is a global phenomenon, spoiler, that Marvel did themselves, Thunderbolts has been revealed as the new Avengers publicly everywhere, all over social media. They've rebranded the movie as the new Avengers with posters all around the world, especially New York, Los Angeles, wherever you see billboards for Thunderbolts. A lot of them have been changed to the new Avengers. This was an interesting move to do this before the second weekend even came. So it's sort of like a second marketing campaign for almost a new rebranded movie. And it's an odd thing to do. I guess from their perspective, it was going to get spoiled anyways. You might as well get ahead of it. So it's been rebranded, and during that rebrand, we still had a pretty big drop from box office, but $35 million is still no joke at the domestic box office.
There's a giant poster in London that I saw of the film, but then they had spray painted over the title, crossed out the title, and then wrote the new Avengers underneath it. So it looks like they did that last week out here.
Yeah, it's an interesting, I've never seen it happen before for a movie. And then second place, Sinners is killing it still. And it's fourth or third weekend? Is this fourth weekend?
Fourth.
$20 million at the domestic box office for this hit. It has broken $200 million at the domestic box office. It's closing in on $300 million globally. What a massive hit for Warner Brothers and Coogler. Huge kudos to them. $20 million in your fourth weekend is really impressive. Minecraft still holding strong. $7 million at the box office. Just a money-making machine. The Accountant 2 doing pretty well still. I believe it's his third weekend now. The Accountant 2 pulled in $5.8 million at the domestic box office. A new crazy horror movie, Clown in the Cornfield. It dropped in theaters. Limited release, I believe, around 2,000 theaters.
Never heard of it.
$3 million at the box office for a low-budget horror movie. I think they're trying to be sort of the new Art the Clown sort of Terrifier, but it's based on I think it's based on a book. Then we have two pretty much duds compared to budgets, whereas Clown in the Cornfield, not a huge budget, pulls $3 million. Shadow Force, big action movie budget, $2.7 million at the domestic box office. And then Fight or Flight, Josh Hartnett's latest movie, with the $2.2 million at the box office on both of those opening weekends. So not strong performances from those. It seems like the audiences are elsewhere with Sinners and Thunderbolts and The Accountant even.
Yeah, I think it's time for studios to slow down with the John Wick type movies, because it's clearly not working for basically doing their different versions of the same movie.
Outside of John Wick, yeah. And not saying
exactly,
that this is a John Wick-esque movie, but it sort of feels like it. But it is interesting. It looks pretty good. I definitely want to check it out. I was not expecting to have such a low box office, but I haven't really seen this marketed anywhere at all.
Me either. And then Shadow Force is another bad-performing film from Lionsgate. They are not in good shape. They got to turn things around with their upcoming big IPs. So they're committed to Ballerina, John Wick, and then the Hunger Games, which they're gearing up right now. Before we get into the rest of the news, we have a big giveaway. So last week was the 200th episode of the movie news for this show. So we are doing a free Raiders of the Lost podcast hat giveaway, and we had hundreds of entrants on our episode last week. All they had to do was enter by leaving a comment on YouTube, and we found a winner, randomly selected, and that winner is none other than Gazatron9956 on YouTube.
I love it.
God-given name, Gazatron. Quote, Gazatron's their comment was, "I need that hat." Well, guess what, Gazatron? You're getting that hat. So DM us on Instagram, and we'll get your information. We'll send you that really cool Raiders hat ASAP.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
We'll comment on your comment, Gazatron. We'll get in contact, and we'll get your info. Congratulations. Now, let's get into this X-Men news. This is pretty interesting. It's not much, but all we know, according to reports, is that an X-Men movie is in development, and Thunderbolts director Jake Schreier is in talks to direct the X-Men movie. And I think this is definitely in line with how Marvel operates. If they have a director that is very successful with a movie or two, they give them basically a promotion to do a bigger movie in a lot of ways. We've seen that happen through the years, and I think this is a smart move. Obviously, Jake brought something fresh to the MCU that they've been craving and audiences have been craving, and Marvel is very happy with it. Audiences have been very happy with it. And I think it's a smart move. Take a good director who is really got a good vision, really unique filmmaker, and give them control of one of your biggest IPs as we're heading into the crossover events of mutants and Avengers and MCU characters.
He's a great selection for this. It's going to be one of their most important films in the future, setting up for basically the rest of their IPs. And for these characters that they'll end up picking, I wonder who they're going to select to be the main characters in this one. He did a great job with this film, and I think he deserves this promotion, deserves to do this huge thing. And he seems to have a really good vision. And like you said, he brought a fresh perspective to their company that I think audiences really needed. So overall, this is a win-win for a choice.
And I also saw a new movie, limited release right now, Friendship. It's the Paul Rudd, Tim Robinson movie, guys. I saw it last night at the Vista Tarantino's Theater, 35mm projection. You have to see this movie. This is the most unhinged, original comedy I've ever seen in my entire life. It's got to be the funniest movie of the decade. It is bonkers. It's absolutely batshit crazy, hysterical. I can't recommend this movie enough. I think it's getting a wide release next week, but if Friendship is playing near you, guys, trust me, go see this. You'll laugh your butt off all day.
Did they save everything from the trailer? Because the trailer doesn't really seem to give much, and it doesn't seem like it. Like I didn't think it was going to be super funny or crazy from the trailer.
I think people are going just for Tim Robinson because they love him, and he's probably the most memed man on the planet from his TV show. Are you sure about that? You sure about that? I think because the trailer, I think they're being smart because they're being ambiguous with it. The thing with it is, I think the jokes are so unhinged they wouldn't make sense in a trailer unless without context, if that makes sense. There is a new clip they released where he's just walking down his office hallway with an overflowing cup of coffee, and everyone's just like walking around, like, watch out, full cup coming out here, full cup, everybody. It's just the most ridiculous stuff. It's that times 100. It's so funny, guys. I've never seen anything like it. It's unhinged, original, and great. Just wanted to plug that because I had such a good time.
All right, that's awesome. I'm going to check it out this week. All right, we have some huge news for all of us Lord of the Rings fans. If anyone who's sick of these spin-offs by new people, Andy Serkis, his new film, The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, has officially been scheduled to release December 17th, 2027, so Christmas time in 2 years. He's also going to be starring as Gollum, so he'll be doing acting, and directing duties on the film. And we were talking about it. Would you cast someone to play the role other than him if he's directing?
No way.
You know what? He's perfect. You can't do better. Why not? I'm up for it.
You can't recast Gollum. You can't.
No way.
Indiana Jones, you can eventually. We'll have to accept that. Gollum, you can't recast. There's no one else that could do that.
Wait, that's a weird line to draw. I disagree with that line.
Even though this movie's been confirmed, the release date finally getting announced is really cool. And I think this is the first official confirmation of Andy Serkis playing Gollum and coming back, which is really excellent. You know what? It is what it is. Legacy sequel, reboots, prequels, origin stories, they're going to keep getting made. But if they're good, I'm locked in. Let's do it. We got to talk about the biggest video launch for any type of media of all time that just happened. And I think this video game is going to absolutely have a huge effect on entertainment, social media, culture, and the movie box office of summer 2026. Talking about Grand Theft Auto 6, baby. Holy crap. This trailer, in its first day, 475 million views in its first 24 hours. Rockstar claims it's the biggest video launch of all time. This comes out May 26, 2026. They're projecting $2.7 billion in sales on its first day. This is a $2.5 million game, billion-dollar game. $2.5 billion to make this. And
Jesus Christ.
It's coming out May 26th, and I believe we talk about this in an episode upcoming, how it's going to have an effect on the entertainment industry and the culture in general. I think you're not going to be able to go on social media, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, without seeing montages, memes, videos of people playing this game, all kinds of crazy stuff. It's going to take the world by storm, and it's a huge crossover between gamers and movie theater and movie fans. This coming out after Avengers, so Doomsday comes out May 1st. Mandalorian Grogu's May 22nd. GTA 6 is May 26th. So I think a lot of studios, they may take a bit of a dip in box office projections because this video game's coming out. And I think a lot of people are going to be playing this for about a month straight. That's all they're going to be doing.
I agree. I think that it's going to take a huge chunk out of people's media consumption and entertainment. Also, I wonder, when is the film going to be announced?
We'll see. I mean, I would love to see a movie like this, but I mean, I'm not even a gamer. I'm like a casual gamer. I play once every in a while. I'm gonna buy this fucking game. So this game's gonna make a ton of money. If you're releasing a movie in June, wish you the best of luck, everybody. Good luck, studios.
Good luck. All right, next up, for all the Evil Dead fans, it is returning with its next film, Evil Dead Burn, which I think is a really great title, which releases July 24th, 2026 in theaters. Really great real estate to be in the release schedule for the year. Directed by Sebastian Vanchek. No news about what the story is yet, but they got their slate. They're ready to go. I'm always up for one of those.
I think it's going to be hardcore. The director says he wants it to be visceral, sensory onslaught, basically. He wants to, hurt the audience in a lot of ways as they're watching this movie. I think it's going to be intense.
He wants to actually stab them.
It's an interactive 40X. Knives come.
Feel the pain the character is feeling.
Did you watch the trailer for Materialists?
It looks great.
This is Celine Song's new film, R-rated romance starring Pedro Pascal, Chris Evans, and Dakota Johnson. Hits theaters June 13th. It looks delightful and relatable. Dakota Johnson plays a matchmaker, and she is torn between her past love, played by Chris Evans, and this perfect, wealthy, handsome, successful, kind man, Pedro Pascal, who's like a dream girl from her materialistic perspective. And she's torn between the two of them. It's really looks incredible. The filmmaking is stunning, and Celine Song coming off Past Lives. I can't wait to see this movie.
It feels like a Nora Ephron kind of film, the kind of rom-coms that they were mature from the 90s and early 2000s. There was a maturity to them. And then I think the rom-com genre went a little too much into either very sappy, melodramatic, or cringe. And this one looks like it's getting back to the great era of the 90s where rom-coms were a very strong genre of storytelling with just really great actors, great performances, memorable characters. So I think it looks like it capture the magic of that time for the genre. My favorite trailer of the week, though, it's probably the best horror franchise running right now, and that's the Conjuring franchise. The Conjuring: Last Rites finally dropped its first full-length trailer. This film hits theaters September 5th this year, and I expect it to be an absolutely massive juggernaut at the box office. People love these movies. They're all good. There isn't a bad one, and this is going to be the last one starring Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson in their iconic roles, and it looks good. It looks really great. It hits all the right beats. It has me intrigued. It doesn't give much away, and it does look very scary, but it feels like it's still very much in tone with the style and feeling of especially the first film. I felt like I felt the connection to the first film more than any of them with this trailer. So I think this is going to be a massive hit at the box office and hopefully satisfies fans of the franchise like us.
I think another big hit for horror upcoming is Bring Her Back from the Philippou brothers behind Talk to Me. And this is A24's latest horror film with them. And it looks excellent. We got a great new trailer for this movie. And people, first reactions are calling it excellent. They're glowing. I talked to someone who saw it in New York last week, and they said it's so good, it's brutal. And whereas Talk to Me is kind of a party movie, this is very much a psychological horror movie. And Sally Hawkins is supposed to be sensational. Of course, horror never really gets recognized by the Academy in awards, but you can definitely bet your butts that this is going to be an all-time horror performance from her. And I'm really excited about this film.
Love it. I can't wait to check it out. It looks fantastic. Also, what I can't wait to check out though is our guy, the man, Henry Cavill, in his upcoming Highlander adaptation. From Chad Stahelski, there are reports saying that the reboot is aiming to release in theaters in either 2027 or 2028. They have not begun filming yet, but are eyeing to start filming in September. And I think the sooner they get this done, the better, because I'm looking forward to seeing what they have cooking.
I wonder if it got, because this has been in the works for like years now, right? Two years at least. I wonder if because
he's been attached to it.
Chad Stahelski had to do 3 months of reshoots on Ballerina for, who is it? Len Wiseman was making that movie?
Yeah.
So
correct.
Len Wiseman was the original director on Ballerina. Chad Stahelski had to come in and do 3 months of reshoots on that movie, which is a lot. So he basically remade Ballerina, and then I'm sure he was involved in the editing process heavily. So he's probably been making Ballerina for the last year in post-production on it for a while, and that's probably what's caused a bit of a delay for Highlander, which I'm so excited they're finally going to start filming.
That checks out because obviously he did the reshoots, which took a couple months, but also I think post-production he's probably been heavily involved in to help fix it.
100%.
And help make sure his baby is in like good shape.
Yeah, well now it's kind of like
it.
his movie. I wonder if he'll get a co-director credit. I wouldn't be surprised because a similar thing happened with not Rocket Man. Yeah, Rocket Man. No, Bohemian Rhapsody with Dexter Fletcher and Bryan Singer.
He got a co-credit?
I believe he got a co-credit because he did so much of the movie. Because Bryan Singer, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check.
I don't think he got a credit at least in the main credits. I could be mistaken.
Let me double check.
So.
Yeah, he's okay. Bryan Singer's credited on IMDb.
Yeah,
but Dexter Fletcher at the end of the day did finish Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah. It's not good for press.
Yeah.
So they don't really like to. Yeah, you know what I mean.
There was a lot of bad press for
a guy. A guy had to redirect this movie. It can't be very good, so they avoid releasing that as much as they can.
That's a good point. Really exciting news.
So
I'm sorry. I cut you
go
off.
ahead.
Really exciting news here. So Mikey Madison, post-Oscar win. It's been 2 months since she won. Longer. And I'm sure everyone's been dying to know, what's her next movie going to be? I like how a lot of young Oscar winners, they wait until, they see the field, and I think it's smart to take your time and pick the right movie. And Mike, because I'm sure she's getting offered everything. She probably got offered Marvel movies, superhero movies, DC, everything. She's picked her next movie to be Reptilia, which will co-star Kirsten Dunst from director Alejandro Landes Echevarria. This is a thriller that follows a dental hygienist who is seduced by a mysterious mermaid into the underworld of Florida's exotic animal trade. Okay, sign me up. That sounds cool.
That sounds pretty bizarre, and also I think social media is going to have a field day with it, so I think it's a good decision.
And I'm guessing Mikey will play the mermaid, probably.
I would say so, yeah, Seems to be right for that role.
That's cool.
All right, sounds cool. Sounds very fresh. I like it. We also got the first teaser logo and news about Godzilla x Kong Supernova, the next film in the franchise, coming out to theaters March 26th, 2025. This is going to star Sam Neill, Dan Stevens, Caitlin Dever, Alicia Denham Carey, Matthew Modine, Delroy Lindo, and Jack O'Connell.
What a cast!
Couple of guys from Sinners.
Oh my gosh.
Couple of Sinners over there. I like the logo. It looks like it's going to be fun. Supernova is a really fun term to use, bouncing off probably the the entertainment value of the last film. Also a great cast. I think having Sam Neill was such a great pick. Dan Stevens returning and reprising his role. I'm looking forward to this. I think it looks intriguing and looks like a lot of fun. It could be some big popcorn entertainment, I got to tell you.
I'm curious what they mean by supernova. Maybe something intergalactic or space-related. Maybe alien kaijus or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't know much about the Godzilla lore, but I'm guessing something from space is going to interact with Earth. We got a new look at...
What is a supernova?
A supernova is a specific kind of shooting star, right? I believe.
It is a powerful explosion of a star in a dramatic event that marks the end of its life cycle, particularly for very massive stars.
Death of a sun. Supernova.
Cool.
Pretty close. Okay, 28 years later, didn't get a new trailer, but we got a new image. And this is an interesting one because it's an image of Ralph Fiennes' character, the supposed scientist, leading Jodie Comer's character, who's playing what looks to be a mother who just gave birth. She's holding a I don't think they've released that yet, but it looks very similar to A Quiet Place. She just gave birth in A Quiet Place Part 2, as well as, I'm assuming, her son behind her. And they're walking across a river with holding ropes to get across. And in front of Ralph Fiennes' hand is a skull, a head, a severed head. So I wonder if this relates to him trying to figure out and solve the evolution of the virus. He's trying to figure this out. But it's an interesting image. Doesn't give a story much story away, but it gives some hints and clues of some characters.
I believe that the boy is Aaron Taylor Johnson's son and not her son, and they find her in the somewhere.
Yeah, that's my guess as well. But she does have an infant baby, a newborn baby.
Yeah, a little tiny baby. There's also a brand new image for Superman that was revealed of Superman inside of his dojo. What's it called? What's his place called? What's his bachelor pad called?
It's called the
something
Fortress of Solitude.
Fortress of Solitude. Thank you.
That's tip of my tongue.
So
bachelor
he's standing,
pad.
speaking. He's speaking to his pup, and then one of his robots is in the background, and you can see kind of like a Batcave kind of situation with the setup with steps and looks to be computers and all sorts of.
It's not the Batcave, Anthony. It's the Fortress of Solitude.
No, I'm saying it's similar to the Batcave.
No, it's similar. It's similar to the Fortress of Solitude. It's its own thing, bro.
It looks like he's got a big computer though, so
he has that in the comics.
I'm just saying. I didn't read the comics.
What's funny is it looks like he's having an argument with the dog.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
He must be able to communicate with it.
Yeah, they chat in the teaser.
It's a good image. I think it's good. It's a good image. It's fun. Everyone needs to lighten up.
Lighten up. How'd you miss that Batman reference?
That
was your bread and butter for years. Anthony would say, "Lighten up" all the time.
Lighten up.
Let's talk about Spike Lee's latest film, the remake of High and Low, Highest to Lowest. And I was so curious what this tone and vibe was going to be like. I'm sold. This looks great. So we got our first teaser starring Denzel Washington, Jeffrey Wright, A$AP Rocky, and Ice Spice. Hits theaters August 22nd, as well as Apple TV Plus on September 5th. So Denzel and Spike, it's their first movie together in 19 years. It follows a legendary music mogul whose empire is shaken when he's forced to make a moral choice that will change everything. And I like changing it up. So High and Low, the man who's involved with the kidnapping, he's a shoe salesman. He owns a shoe factory. But now we have a hip-hop music mogul. I like this change. It's more modern. It's more contemporary. Denzel looks great in this role. Aesthetically, this movie looks brilliant. I'm very excited about this. It looks so good. I was so happy to finally see a teaser.
And it really separates itself from his Old Boy adaptation, which was a pretty close adaptation to Old Boy, which was one of the reasons why it didn't work. This looks like a really different take on High and Low. So it looks like he brought a lot of new narrative and ideas to the story. And I think it separates itself from his adaptation of Old Boy. And I'm looking forward to this, man.
Good point.
He must have been waiting to work with Denzel again. Ridley Scott and Antoine Fuqua had just snatched him up for the last 20 years for their movies.
I wonder if ASAP will be the kidnapper.
It seems like he would play that role because he
seems like
he's
an
in
ex-con.
an orange jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a criminal. Now, we got some big news for a couple of horror heavy hitters. Both Jordan Peele and M. Night Shyamalan are going to be releasing their next films on the same day next year, October 23rd, 2026. We don't know anything about the movies yet, but they're coming out that day.
I love it.
Is one of them going to move? Or are they just going to stay in that weekend?
No need.
I think one might push to the Halloween weekend.
No way. Why move? It can work.
Barbenheimer. It's the same audience.
Barbenheimer, baby. I think
different audience for Barbenheimer.
Jordan Peele he's going to make $200 million on his movies every time it comes out. M. Night pretty much the same. I think they're both going to be hits. I think this is going to be fun. I think this is going to be not Barbenheimer, obviously, but it's going to be a fun Halloween double feature for people. Double feature. And I think you have two massive, successful directors in the horror genre coming out with movies on the same day, right before Halloween. I think it's genius, and I think it's going to work. And I'm going to see both these movies, obviously. I think everyone's going to see one. We'll probably see the other anyways. So I think it's going to be fun. I think they're going to play with it. The marketing is going to be naturally organic. People are going to mark this whole event thing together, and I think it's going to be a huge hit for both movies.
Barben horror.
Well, when we find out the titles.
Barben horror.
Barben horror.
Peel-a-man. Peel-a-man.
M. Night Peele.
Peel-Malan.
Jordan Shyamalan. All right, let's move on to How to Rob a Bank. David Leitch's new film, How to Rob a Bank, releases officially on September 4th, 2026, starring Nicholas Hoult, Pete Davidson, and Anna Sawai. The film follows robbers who share their heists on social media while evading police.
I like it.
So expect an action
Miles
comedy
Teller
here, probably in the tone of Fall Guy.
Oh, for sure. Miles Teller has selected his next film following up the Apple success of The Gorge with Possum Song. Now, this sounds really weird, but stay with me. It's a new film from Sing Sing director Greg Huidar and follows a musician who stole the songs for his hit debut album. So he strikes up a dangerous bargain with a magical possum to help him write a new song. Possum Song.
You know what, Anthony?
In theaters.
I'm sick of all these sequels and reboots and remakes, man. We need something original.
We need more possums. We do.
Possum Song, baby. This sounds crazy. Let's go.
I love Miles. I'll see whatever he's in. I think he's great.
A magical possum to write songs. That's pretty funny. Stephen King, the icon, still is on fire with adaptations because I think he's just become such an IP name for horror, just from a studio perspective, that it seems like even more adaptations are getting done of his books than ever before. We got the first trailer for The Long Walk. This is a film based off one of his books that follows a contest which 100 young men have to walk without stopping and are killed if they pause for too long. So it's basically this messed up contest. And based off the trailer, they don't know that it'll be fatal for them if they stop. And once they start, only one person can win. There's no finish line. And the winner gets money, I think, or wealth, something like that. But it looks intense.
They get a Reuben sandwich.
It looks intense, looks brutal, and great cast. We have Gandolfini as well as David Johnson from Romulus in this movie as the leads.
Cooper Hoffman as well.
Cooper Hoffman. I'm sorry, not Gandolfini. Cooper Hoffman.
Yeah, Cooper Hoffman. And I think it looks pretty interesting. Although this novel was written, it's one of his early novels, 1979. This book was written. I think that the success of Squid Game, everyone was like, "Do we have anything like Squid Game?" And they found this Stephen King novel that's similar to Squid Game.
It's that, but also it's just Stephen King. I think that IP war. Stephen King has so many stories, so many books. I mean, even adapting The Monkey into a movie was like, how could you do that? But they did it. So
they made money.
September 12th. That's what I mean, man. This is the biggest IP right now in horror.
All right, next up is probably the biggest news announcement of the year. We're getting a sequel to the beloved, iconic, masterful action film, The Beekeeper. The Beekeeper 2 is moving forward at Amazon MGM and will begin filming this fall. Timo Tangento is set to direct. And man, Jason Statham with his half Boston, half British accent's coming back. He's got to protect the hive.
Did you see the new trailer for How to Train Your Dragon?
I did not, because I'm saving it. Can you describe it?
It looks awesome. It looks so good. It's so much action, and it's basically Hiccup and the Dragon for the entirety of the trailer. And I think it was the right thing to do. Release an action-packed teaser after your main trailers drop, just a couple months away. June 13th, this hits theaters. It looks exciting. The visual effects look awesome. This movie looks like it's been done right, with a lot of passion, a lot of love, and I think it's going to be an excellent live-action adaptation.
Don't sleep on this film's box office. I think it can be a really strong performer in June, even in a jam-packed schedule of May and June, and then July. I think it can do really well, and it's going to be playing this trailer. They're going to be playing it all for the next 3 weeks. People are going to become very aware that this movie's coming out. And this is a film that has, I think, 4 quadrant abilities in terms of how many kinds of people the audience that can be in the audience for this. So I think this could be a huge sleeper hit this year. Not a sleeper, but like a really big hit. Next up, Paper Tiger has been announced. Scarlett Johansson, Adam Driver, and Miles Teller. Take my money, guys. Just take it. Just take all my money. James Gray might actually finally make a movie that makes money. Sorry, James Gray. I love you. Paper Tiger follows 2 brothers pursuing the American dream, only to become entangled in a scheme that turns out to be too good to be true.
Yeah, I guess his movies haven't had a ton of box office success lately.
Never have.
I mean, even Lost City of Z was not a successful film. Ad Astra was not a successful film because he's such a good filmmaker.
Yeah,
he's a really good
great.
director.
I've seen I love his stuff.
Last Meals, we have a new casting alert for Mads Mikkelsen and Boyd Holbrook. What a cast already. Last Meals follows a disgraced White House chef who now cooks last meals for inmates on death row. Everything changes when one goes on hunger strike, and the chef begins to believe that they're innocent.
Dun dun dun.
I like it.
What would your last meal be, James?
Oh, I don't need anything fancy. Just maybe a ton of ice cream.
Really?
Like really good ice cream.
Particular flavor?
Oh, give me a bunch of flavors and I'm good to go. I mean, depends on the ice
James
cream
wants
shop.
a whole boat of ice cream.
Yeah, I guess maybe like a burger than ice cream. Like I'm pretty simple. Ice cream is one of my favorite foods.
I was gonna say a burger, a huge juicy cheeseburger with bacon, lots of cheese, grilled onions.
Nice.
That's what I would go for. All right, next up, Brendan Fraser. His next film has been announced as Breaking Bear, starring himself, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Annie Murphy, she's coming into a lot of movies recently. Elizabeth Hurley, Josh Gad. What is this, from the 90s? What's it, 1998? This is described as Yogi Bear meets The Sopranos, an animated series, and follows a family of bears who go full criminal to stop trackers, mobsters, and a wolf pack from destroying their home. Sounds very fun. Sounds very cute.
Peacemaker just got a new teaser for season 2. Nathan Fillion and Isabel Merced will appear as Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner in the season. We got our first look at Sean Gunn as well as Maxwell Lord, so people get excited to see Peacemaker's coming back.
Cool. All right, we got some really cool news about the upcoming Beatles biopics from the legendary Sam Mendes. He's hired 3 writers to help him on his quest to tell the impossible story of the greatest band ever. Jez Butterworth, who wrote Ford vs. Ferrari, Jack Thorne, who wrote Adolescence, and then Peter Strawn, who wrote Conclave. He was just like, give me the hottest writers you have, Hollywood. These guys will help craft the stories for his four Beatle films, which all come into theaters April 2028.
It's gonna be fun.
That's great. Those are great choices. Really, really good movies. extremely well-written movies, and the TV show Adolescence, obviously. So, great picks.
Got a new trailer for a film for Apple TV Plus starring Julianne Moore and Sydney Sweeney, Echo Valley. The film follows a mother who is shocked when her troubled daughter arrives at her doorstep at night covered in someone else's blood. Looks like a great mystery.
Dun, dun, dun. All right,
you
all
do
the
that every
fans of
time?
Ted. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. An animated series for Ted is in the works in recording. Seth MacFarlane, Mark Wahlberg, and Amanda Seyfried, and Jessica Barth are all reprising their roles in this next foray into Ted's life.
Pretty fun. We got our first
Dun, dun, dun.
exclusive clip from Wes Anderson's The Phoenician Scheme. It's a classic elevator sequence for a Wes Anderson movie starring Benicio del Toro, Michael Cera, Mia Threppleton, and Richard Ayoade in theaters very soon, May 30th.
Oh, yeah, and that's coming out. That's premiering at Cannes in competition next week. So we'll finally hear about first reactions to that film, as well as Ari Aster's next film. So we'll get to hear early reaction, spoiler-free news about those film releases. Next up, Five Nights at Freddy's Dead by Daylight. First look shows Matthew Lillard voicing Springtrap, who's being added as the game's latest killer. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Map is also being added. This comes out this summer from Blumhouse.
Yeah, it's the animatronics are going to leave the pizza shop. Dead by Daylight.
They're going to get pizza somewhere else.
There's a new series coming out. It's called Einstein, starring Matthew Gray Gubler. The series follows the great-grandson of Albert Einstein, whose bad boy antics end up with him having to help a local police detective solve cases of the week. So basically, they took Albert Einstein and turned his great-grandson into Sherlock Holmes, and now it's a show.
So, but Einstein's not even in it?
He's dead. It's present day.
This makes no sense.
It's just
it's a TV show without Albert Einstein in it.
It's literally Sherlock Holmes. That's what it is. It's just Sherlock Holmes, but with a different. So they got away with not making a Sherlock Holmes adaptation.
Here we go. All right, if you guys weren't sick of famous IPs being milked, I think we have the biggest case of milking in a while. 10 Things I Hate About You is getting 3 sequels. It's going to be franchised. And all 3 movies have titles. They will be called 10 Things I Hate About Dating, 10 Things I Hate About Marriage, and 10 Things I Hate About Kids. And I think that I have 10 things I hate about this idea.
It sounds like a BuzzFeed article.
Yeah, it does sound like a BuzzFeed article.
As well as like, Jesus Christ, life's not that bad. Like, holy crap.
Jesus. Yeah, I have no interest
I don't know what the
seeing
tone's
any of
going to be
these.
here. Don't ever procreate, I guess.
Yeah, stay in your home.
Let's talk about the Roots maneuver. Vivian Oprah, Toni Collette, and Jessica Henwick have just been cast, as well as Little Sims, to star in Rain Allen Miller's new heist comedy, The Roots Maneuver. The film follows a young woman who orchestrates a heist to recover a stolen artifact, covering her tracks by managing the whirlwind of a wedding. Interesting.
Yeah. All right, we got some cool news coming out of Hong Kong, man. One of the greatest directors of all time, Wong Kar-wai, is finally returning after a 12-year hiatus with his next film called Blossom Shanghai. So stay tuned for when that comes out.
Can't wait.
Let's go.
Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma. Hannah Binder and Gillian Anderson will star in Jane Schoenbrun's new film, Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma. The film follows a director rebooting a slasher franchise who becomes obsessed with the actress who played the final girl in the OG film.
This is from the director of I Saw a TV Glow. All right, so another person's obsessed with an old piece of media. All right, next up we have a trailer for Ethan Cohen's next film, Honey Don't, starring Margaret Qualley, Aubrey Plaza, and Chris Evans, and follows a lesbian private detective who investigates the questionable church and its leader.
It's the second film in his lesbian road trilogy. But Margaret Qualley.
I'm sure Margaret Qualley will play all of them.
All three, yeah. She looks terrific, and the cast is awesome. So I think this is definitely worth checking out. Burning Rainbow Farm. This is a new film on a crazy true story. Sebastian Stan and Leah Woodall will star in Justin Kurzel's next film, Burning Rainbow Farm. The film follows two gay cannabis activists who set up the Rainbow Farm, but their young son is taken from them and causes one of the most dramatic police standoffs ever, based on a true story.
Is he the guy who made Macbeth and Assassin's Creed? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Snowtown Murders. Yeah, really good director. Next up, Spider-Man Brand New Day just added Liza Colon Zayas to the cast in an undisclosed role.
From The Bear.
Who's she playing the bear?
She plays, what's her name? One sec.
Is she the older woman?
Yeah, the older woman.
Oh, really?
She
I'm so
plays-
glad. Good for her. I love her.
Yeah, she's
she got
killing
a
it.
huge movie role.
Yeah, she's
that's
getting
amazing.
a bunch of recognition. What's her character name?
Man, she plays Tina.
Tina, yeah, Tina. Thank you.
Good for her. That's really nice to hear. She just got a massive movie role. That's great.
Final bit of news. Fallout Season 2 has just wrapped production and filming. Coming soon to Prime Video. Get excited, everybody. I know a lot of y'all love this show.
I know you have not finished it, James.
I will. I promise I will. I promise.
You promised literally last year, you said you were
Pinky
going to watch
promise.
it.
You know how busy I was last
summer.
year, man.
It's almost been a year.
Listen, man. Busy guy.
It's
Busy guy.
really good, man. You know how many people have begged us to do an episode on it, and we haven't been able to because you just haven't watched it?
I will watch it. I promise. Pinky promise.
Now you have to.
I will. All right, everyone. That wraps movie news this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Episodes coming up. We have 28 Days Later versus 28 Weeks Later tomorrow on Monday. It's going to be a great way to prep and revisit those films to get ready for 28 Years Later. Awesome episode. We have a movie chat on Wednesday, which was a lot of fun. We go in depth on Grand Theft Auto 6, which was a good time. But thanks for tuning in as always. Subscribe on YouTube. Leave comments, likes. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Be sure to become a patron today at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Use our coupon code Raiders10 at movieposters.com to get 10% off, plus our affiliate link in the episode description of all episodes and our Instagram bio to help us get 10% commission. Other than that, take care, everyone.
See you next time.